Hello, Bishop Roy. Hello, hello. I am doing fine, except that I have a deadlock that I need to fight. So that's going to be today's topic. I know you can fix it. I hope so. Yeah, I feel like I will be able to fix it. It's just a matter of how much energy and time will take. But let's just enjoy the ride, huh? Okay, let me put a countdown. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I think I'm all set up. Ba-ba-bum. Okay, so what are we doing? Unfortunately, there is no easy way of introducing the audience to this code. It's the code from yesterday. So if you were watching what I was doing yesterday, it's a continuation of that. The problem is that the code got gnarly in the meantime because we had to add basically a rollback procedure in case that something goes wrong, like one of the network reads fails or something like that happens. So yeah. So yeah. Oh, so here's where I'm at. Without any form of error. So if I comment out, I have a thing that artificially introduces an error at some point. Without any error, the thing runs forever, so it's not interesting. So let me change this to this to EU16. So without any error, this runs to completion, and it's kind of delightful. Like it just works fine. Keeps counting down in Redis I even have Redis CLI open, so I can do key star, and it shows me all the keys that I have in here. The ones that we care about are the Coro stuff. So if I do get Coro 1, it's 0. They're all 0 because they started at a number and then they all got counted down to 0 in a sense. So if I do get Coro 10, you will see that it counts down to 0 as this counts down to 0. And we can introduce errors. The problem is that, so for example, I can introduce, just to double check that everything works correctly, 10 tends to have a bunch of items in it, so we can use that. If I do incur by Coro 10 by 1, so I will offset it by 1 as the code is running. Oh, incur by, oops, I put it. Okay, if I do it again, I increase it by 1, and that causes a mismatch error for quote unquote thread number 10. I mean, it is a thread, but in our case, it's an async task number 10. So this works. This is nice. What is the problem though? That introducing an error from Redis, these things are independent. So making one error out has no impact on the others. But things like network connections, like the server dies, connection is lost one way or another, that should cause a cascading failure, that type of stuff, and or cancellation, for example. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm worrying about. So if I introduce some kind of canceling error, did what? How the fuck? Oh, I guess I must have not have saved this thing. No such command W. Okay. What? So this is telling me that sometimes I return that error and nothing goes wrong? I thought that was a deadlock. This is not a deadlock. Holy shit. But if I put it here, it is confirmed. Yeah. What? But in this case, it succeeds? How can it succeed? And if this says that it succeeded, it actually did succeed for real, not as a joke. So broken connection is fine, cancel is fine, error mismatch is definitely not fine. There's still something funky going on. This is really surprising. Just one mismatch. Oh, and another mismatch. Ah, man. Okay, let's go through it logically. So we lock the reader lock. We lock the writer lock. If we discover that the client is broken, we unlock and return broken connection. If the client was not broken, then we create a pending entry for ourselves, and we say, was there something else pending? If there was, then we become the next pending. I should probably add an assert here. I should assert that next of this pending item is null, because we don't want to. It's wrong if we were to override somebody. It should not happen, but let's put it as an assert. That is, I think, good. Okay, then skip the defer. Then we write the request. Then we write the request. And here we could be the first and only item. The first, but with somebody queued up behind us. Not the first, but with somebody else queued behind us. Hello, Dawn of my Requiem. Good morning. Or we could be the very last ones. There's like 4 possibilities. So we hit this error here. And at this point, we still hold the writer lock. Hey, Scott. Okay, we still hold the writer lock at this point. Okay, you know what? I think I want to do this. We still see mismatch though sometimes. That does suck. Why? Okay, for us to see mismatch, it means that somebody above us failed, but they somehow did not let us know. You replied to water, right? Oh no. Are you sure that's how you want to use your time? Could you make a thread pool version that uses one Redis connection per thread? The answer is yes, we could, but this is not particularly interesting because right now I'm using an IO implementation that does multi-threading. Where one task is one OS thread. But most people will be using non-blocking IO with green threads. So there will be, in any case, there will be more than one thing multiplexed on one thread. And doing one Redis connection per green thread is wrong because you could have like 10,000 of these things flying around and you don't want to make 10,000 connections to Redis. So ultimately, the question of multiplexing multiple async things over the same connection is a necessity. You have to face that problem, and you do get benefits if you do it right. Like, this is complicated because I'm trying to do it the perfect way, and so that means that the cancellation procedure has to be complicated. But man, if we can solve this, it's gonna be delightful. It's really gonna be delightful. I'm tempted to invite him to Zig Day. I think he's in the Seattle area. Good question. He was at Handmade Seattle a while ago, but I don't know, the way he was dressing, he looked like a guy from Texas or something. So, like in a somewhat stereotypical fashion. So it made me think that he's probably not from Arizona. You remember he was like dressing, I think, like white, had a hat. Or am I exaggerating my memories? But like, I don't know. I remember him definitely not dressing like the rest of the audience, nor how most people that I would see walking around Seattle. Although I do understand that there's a ton of diversity, so people will dress quote unquote weird in a big city. But I don't know. He seemed to me that he was like clearly bring in some vibes from another state. Okay, so here we cancel. And as part of canceling, we unlock the writer lock. What does that mean? What does that imply? Oh, by the way, I should point this out also. If I inject, so by the way, this line is a way of artificially injecting an error. If I inject an error artificially, sorry, here. Okay, so as long as it's here, I believe things are fine. No, even here we have mismatch, right? Yeah, okay, mismatch is wrong. Cancelled is okay. Broken connection is okay. Mismatch is not okay. Oh shit, I know what the problem is. It's here. Is it here? No, because we do cancel who's after us. So, god damn it. Okay, sorry, I jumped ahead. In any case, so we write the request. We stumble upon an error. We unlock the writer. We grab the reader lock. If we were supposed to be waiting, we wait to be notified. This is necessary because otherwise, if we clean up ourselves too quickly, who was supposed to wake us will point at garbage memory and do undefined behavior. So we have to wait for everything above us to play out, which could play out as a success or as a failure. It doesn't matter. Like all the pending readers above us, doesn't matter whether they succeed or not. But but regardless whether they succeed or not, they will awake us. They will want to awake us. So we have to wait for them to do that. So we regrab the writer lock. We set the client to broken, and then we say, okay, if we do have a pending, then tell them that they've been canceled. And then signal them. And if we were the pending tail, and these two things are kind of mutually exclusive. If we do have an X, then we're not the tail. So it's this. Why do you set client broken twice? I'm experimenting if setting it here makes any difference. The reason why it might make a difference is because I'm doing this in two different places where I give up a lock to the memory that is to the state of client. So if I don't set broken through immediately, oh, do we check broken through down here? I don't know. My point is that there might be a semantic difference. I'm not 100% sure though. I'm testing stuff out. So for example, this was a perfect run because there was no mismatch. But I don't think I fixed it. Yeah, there you go. There's a mismatch. So something went wrong. You can try commenting it out. So far, it doesn't seem to have made much of a difference. Sometimes there's a mismatch, sometimes there isn't. And sometimes, Maybe this is a hint. Sometimes, even though we do seem to inject an error, this error has no consequence. Which is weird. How can it have no consequence? How can it have no consequence? I'm gonna add a oops print when this condition happens. What? What? How how is it possible that we don't get this? So for us to not get here, either we don't get to this point at all, which is impossible because all the early returns are like hard errors, or x is never 500. But we increase x one at a time here. Oh, am I being a complete fucking idiot? I'm a complete fucking idiot. You know what the problem is? Oh my god. You know what the problem is? Oh my god. The problem is that this function is called across multiple threads now. And yeah. God damn it. God damn it. Add with an uppercase A. Okay, now we reliably we reliably get errors, so that's good, I guess. Okay, so the error now that gets triggered reliably. We do get mismatches though. Those are problematic. Those are wrong. These are wrong, and the problem is It means that somebody's waking us up. The ones that produce mismatch, they are being waken up, but not being told that they actually failed. And that is a problem. That is a problem. That seems weird because I don't see how we could be fucking that up. Because we literally wait for the reader lock. We wait for the reader lock. Oh, I think that must be it. So self-pending should be protected by the reader lock. Oh, I think this might be the problem. No, PP next is protected by the writer lock. And state and condition by the reader lock. So we have the reader lock when changing this stuff. And we have the writer lock because we access next. So this is consistent. We have both locks, so we access that, and that's why we access all of it. Here, well, no, here, we keep waiting. And after the wait, we own the reader lock. And by owning the reader lock, we can read state. Yes. We can read state. Then we grab then we do the reading, and then we grab the writer lock again. And we have both to look at next. I think the problem is here. The problem is that here something has already gone wrong. Something has already gone wrong, but we don't tell the next guy that it's that we've been canceled. So here, for example, the read has gone wrong. We said cancel true. Or unlock. You know what? Maybe this really does make a difference. And yet we do still see mismatch. I think that when I comment this out, we see more mismatch. Man, now the computer wants to prove a point and that I'm wrong. Okay, I see two mismatches. One mismatch. No, okay, so this has no impact on the number of mismatches that we see, it seems. So here, okay, so here, the idea is that we were holding the reader lock and we were told that we were canceled. So it's fine if we don't try to set the state to client to broken, because if we were told that we were canceled, then the state is already broken for sure. Yeah. So here we lock the writer lock, but only if there wasn't any error. And yet we still do propagate this correctly. Like, out of curiosity, what if we did this unconditionally? This is obviously broken logic, but this should guarantee that we don't get mismatches. Like, at this point, it's impossible to get mismatches because everything goes south every single time. Yeah. As you can see, there are no more mismatches because it's impossible. The only way for a mismatch to happen is that something was already wrong. So something was wrong in the sense that we did not consume what we should have consumed. And then here we still say ready. How can this be? How can this be? It's so weird because there must be something really stupid that I don't see, that I left somewhere. Some extremely silly corner case that I didn't think about. So here there's a bunch of tries and a bunch of returns, so this is fine. This is all fine. Kind of broken doesn't need to be atomic because it's protected by a write lock. Hello, hello, hello. So that's why I'm not making it atomic. And in general, I think this can work with just 2 locks. I don't think it needs more than 2. So mismatch. How do we get mismatch? Let's add some printing to mismatch so that just to, I don't know, get just a smidge more information. There we go. Yeah. So you see, the number being this different means that somebody else was supposed to read this number, and they didn't because they got canceled somehow. But and so this value ended up in thread 8 slap, basically. Nice. Yeah, get updated. Also, I'm doing something complicated. Don't look at what I'm doing as something that you will have to do to make your work to make your code work with IO. I'm doing some advanced acrobatics in a Redis client. Okay, so I think I have a good handle on part of what is happening. What is happening is necessarily that something has already broken. Some other pending read queued before us, so above. I will use the term above to mean before us. So think of it as a stack. You pop from the top. Somebody above us has already failed and has not consumed their reply from the connection because an error happened. They were canceled. This can happen because the task could get canceled. So they have not consumed it, but somehow we get woken up being told that we've not been canceled. Somehow we've been told that we're ready. The only place where we're being woken up in a state that is ready is this line. This is the only line where this happens. Nothing else could be doing it. So this means that somehow we proceed to this state without noticing that the client is broken, even though it was broken. We own the reader lock. I think this idea that we own the reader lock is critical. We own the reader lock. And here the error, where is the error initiated? The artificial error. Here. The artificial error is initiated in a place where we do not hold the reader lock. Hey, McPylon. Are you looking? So there's a branch that has activity. I'm guessing the fact that you mentioned 7 days and not like 7 months is because you were aware that there is a branch where I'm doing some work. I'm not pushing too often because it's basically because it's like it's still in a semi-broken state. So I don't have a ton of things fully fixed. So because of that, I'm not pushing for other people's consumption. I'm being kind of, I don't know, selfish about it in a sense. Like I'm just not thinking that about providing people with useful code in that sense. I don't know. I need to get to I need to hit a save point. I need to hit a point where all the stuff that I regressed is not regressed anymore, and now it can be published, even though maybe it doesn't have all the new things that it should have, but at least it's not like, everything horribly regressed compared to where it was before. I need to reach that point, and I'm happy to do that. It's just that with async coming out, there's a bunch of like side quests, including this Redis one. This Redis client one, I wanted to do for ages, for like absolute ages. So I'm really happy to finally be able to do it, because I think that this might turn out to be maybe the most performant Redis client ever written. To be honest, I don't care anymore too much about it. So even if it isn't, it's fine, whatever. But this concept of um, having two locks and orchestrating these locks in a, well, complicated manner, I had in mind for a while, and so I would really be happy if I can make this work. So you see, this is behaving beautifully almost every single time. Look, it took a while before we got to a mismatch, but in the end we did. So there's just one freaking annoying little bug that's messing with us. Here's another idea. Maybe I could see if I can get this error to this bug to repro with just two threads, and then we print there more in detail. We make like we had a bunch of uh verbose printing, and then we just read the print trace, and then we use that to see, oh wait, this should not have happened. This is the line where weird stuff happens. We could do that. It's just a ton of work, man. I was hoping I could just figure it out by reading the code and reasoning. I don't know. The only point where things are sus is in here. Really. It's just, this is the only point. But I know that these two lines have to be like this. Like, I know I tried to swap them around. They do deadlock. But also, I know logic-wise that this is the only way they could be. And it's the only sus point. I think we should start adding like thread IDs. So work ready, work cancelled, work cancelled. There's the mismatches. Work ready, oops, error. Work cancelled. You know what? Let's print also the thread ID also. Maybe this is really what's gonna help us more than anything else. This guy read wrong, and it is not one of the ones that got work cancelled, understandably. But I don't even see it being work ready. So here it was working ready, but I mean a bunch of others got work ready in the meantime. So yeah, that's fine. It's one of the group. It's 9. 9. So this one will cancel. This one will cancel. This one will cancel. Will cancel. Will cancel. Cancelled. Cancelled. 8 also will cancelled. But 76. 76 does not even show up as having been awoken ready. So my diagnosis was somewhat wrong. So the problem is that it's not being woken with the wrong state. So how is it reaching there? So you know what I'm thinking? That 6 is the one that initiated the error. You know what we need? We need to know what the thread ID is. We need to know the thread ID of who is it that initiates the error. When I see that it's going to be the same freaking guy. 900. It is not in this case. In this case, it is not. 900 is the one that does whoops error. Give me a sec. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab another cup of tea. I'm back. So we have mismatches, huh? And the curl pit. So the curl pit 02 the curl pit has been woken ready last the curl pit has not been woken cancelled, and it is not the one that initiated the error. This probably means something. I'm just having trouble connecting it. God damn it. So, like, here it's 19. 19 did not wait cancelled, did not initiate the error. Did not wait cancelled, did not initiate the error. How can your read be queued this far down? I'm really weirded out. You have not been woken up. You have not been woken up cancelled. You have not. You have not initiated the error. The fuck are you coming from? Oh. I think I might have an idea. I think this is the problem. We clear the tail. We clear the tail thinking the control passes immediately over to this guy, but it won't. This is the problem. This is the problem. Fuck no, there's more. God damn it. Okay, so I think that is a problem. Guess what? Guess what? We do the same somewhere else. We try to clear the pending tail somewhere else, and it might not be a good idea. Let's reason about this a little bit more. We need to clear the tail sometimes, so it's not like categorically wrong to clean the tail. So here we have succeeded reading everything. We look at if we have a next. If we have a next, we tell them to wake up. Else, we have no next. We are at the very end. So we just clear the tail. We have the writer lock. So if this is the case, it means that really there is nobody else that already queued up, or is in the middle of queuing up, has half queued up or something. If there is somebody else in the process, they will have already set themselves as the pending tail. So this is really the case where we cleared everything up. But if things go wrong, then when and how and if do we clear ourselves, or like clear the tail? The answer is, so what I was doing here is clear the tail unconditionally, which is wrong, because if stuff went wrong and we clear the tail unconditionally, but this was not unconditional, sorry. This was still in the case that we did not have a next. And we're also holding the locks, so nobody else can sign up. Nobody else can sign up unless they hold the writer lock. So we have it. If there is nobody else and we are holding the writer lock, then we really have the ability to delete the tail. And actually, we can even add an assert. We should add an assert that we are clearing ourselves. Yeah, so we still have the mismatch, but we don't trip those assertions. So okay, at the very least. Actually, what if we do this? I'm messing them up on purpose. Yeah, we blow up. Awesome. Okay. This is all fine. And yet, somehow, I think I need more prints from async at this point. I think we need to turn this back on. Okay, there's way more spam now, but it's fine. So 3, whoops, error. So 3 reads this value and then initiates an error. Can we print where they receive an error? Oh, because it's a try. Wait a second. Three. Three is the one that initiates an error. But where is 3 error something something? It's down here. Okay, so it takes a while for that to be processed, but does it take a while for that to be processed? I guess this is just thread weirdness, so it's fine. So 3 gets this error, initiates the error, and then we get this canceled. So that's fine. Then 6 is canceled, 0 gets broken connection. 8 happens and reads wrong. 8 happens and reads wrong. So the fact that a read happens after we put the error is okay. It can happen. It can happen and it's fine. But it should not cause a mismatch. It should not cause a mismatch. It should, if it happens, it should succeed like happily. Now, what happens last to 8? 8 is 5810. It woke ready and it read a value. It woke ready and it read a value and was happy. Also, wait a fucking flying minute. Wait, is this the value that we read from Redis? Yes. Okay, so it read from Redis the wrong value. Okay, it actually read the value from, whose value is this? 31, 32, 2. It read a value that belongs to 6, which is the one that woke cancelled. 6 woke cancelled, left. Six should not have been woken cancelled. Wait a flying fucking second. 6 should not have been woken cancelled. That is the problem. 6 should not have been woken cancelled. Or if it did, then 8 should also have been woken cancelled. This seems so weird that it got woken cancelled. So 6 woke already, read a number, then it got woken cancelled. So it returns cancelled without reading. But then 8 comes in thinking that it's its turn and it can read. nicely, but we don't see where 8 got woken. Why? Because 8 here got woken. I think this is also the other key. Here 8 got woken, and it read its value, so it succeeded. Like, why is 8 reading again without having been woken up? If it does that, it means that it subscribed with nothing. It subscribed with nothing, with no one queued. That has to be it. We can add a print for this. Hmm. We can also do it here. I bet you that we'll see this connected to any error of this kind. Here we go. 9. So 77 got this problem. Let's see where 77 was mentioned last. Okay, I'm going insane. 77 woke ready, read one thing, then we don't see it anywhere until the error happens. We do not see 77 mentioned anywhere until it reads garbage. these prints cannot be out of order. We always print how we woke up, and then we print the value that we return. So this order cannot be wrong when it comes to the same number, to the same thread. $77 woke ready, read its number, and then somehow 77 reads again. And then it's like never mentioned again. Okay, these prints are confusing. How is this even possible? Let's add a like defer print, like where that says that we are returning. Also, one thing I saw here a no sleep. Did I dream of it? No sleep. Where is it? No sleep. 72 did no sleep. So 72 did also the signing up nobody above us. Wait a second. Where's the signing up? Where's the signing up? Wait, what? Why are we not seeing this print? So here's a couple no sleeps. 10 and 16. But none of these guys prints pending 10 being null. What? There's UB in the air. There's UB in the air because I think that there's something weird going on. Um, do I really need to grab the reader lock as well to be able to do this first part? I really don't get it. Mm, This is weird because also we do have this error and sometimes it causes us to cancel, sometimes it just does not. Oh, and we still have this. There we go. This is not really it. I think I would like to see this run with address sanitizer. Oh, sorry, thread sanitizer, I mean. I have sanitized thread. I think I'm assuming that those locks add barriers that they don't. Never mind. We're not getting any thread sanitizer crash, which is good, I guess. Let's try to be naughty and break what we think is a invariant. So, for example, let's say that we forget that we need to grab the writer lock in here. Will Tsan tell us? Oh, you know what? It might tell us. It might have even told us earlier, but there's too much spam. So reduce the amount of spam. Yep. Okay. So we do get a report. Okay. Let's reintroduce this and let's see if Tsan has anything for us. There's too many woke ready. Okay, we get no thread sanitizer complaint. So it means that our assumptions about which lock is protecting which area of memory hold. So we're not doing anything horribly wrong in that sense. What the fuck? What the fuck? This is crazy. So no Tsan complaint, and yet we have this clear logic bug somewhere. Where 56 doesn't get, we don't know the heck happened to 56. Okay, let's get rid of Tsan. We don't need it. So 51 gets the wrong value. Last time we saw 51 was woken ready. we don't see what he wrote. So let me reintroduce all the spammy prints. Also, in this case, somehow it all went well. Okay. Yeah. 144. Book ready. Write its own freaking thing. And then somehow wanted to read again. But we don't see how did it sign up for this new read? This is the part that okay, this is what I'm finding suspicious right now. That's making me think UB, even though I don't know, maybe there is UB going on, but threat sanitizer did not complain, so I don't know. Actually, you know what? I'm very curious to see if I'd be curious to see what uh, let's see what threat sanitizer has to say about this. Oh, it's one of our surgeons that trips even sooner. Okay. Okay, surgeons are doing a good job, I guess. Okay. So, yeah, we need to see what the fuck is going on. Start no pending before else. And you know what? Well, I also want the return prints at this point. Do all have a new line at the end? They do. Okay. Okay. There we go. 88 got an error. 8 bro. 88 done. Where is 88 before? 88 88 start pending. So 88 started with somebody having to wake it up. Got here to done. Wait a second. We don't have a print for it being woken. Where's the woken print? Oh shit. I think this is it. This is it. I think somehow we end up we end up already here being cancelled. This is it. Wait, what? That was it. Oh my god. I cannot believe it. That was it. This is not this is weird though. Why is this running? How did it swallow that error? The fact that sometimes that error gets swallowed blows my fucking mind. I really don't get how that can happen. But okay, at least we don't have mismatches anymore. Oh my god, that was it. This motherfucker here. So the problem was that I assumed that if we were not getting in here is because we were ready, but no, because we did give up the well, we did not give up, but we didn't have the reader lock before. So we could have our state could have been mutated and we wouldn't know. So we would get in here as already canceled. That's why it wasn't printing anything, because I was thinking, wait, it's either ready or waiting, but no, it can be already canceled. Jesus. Okay, let's remove all the weirdo prints. Oh my god. Actually, you know what? Wait, before we remove the weirdo prints, let's inject errors somewhere else. Hey there, Teufel. Time to get back into Zig. You've been away from Zig? Are you saying that you're a traitor? Huh? Okay. Everything is fine. Let's inject the error somewhere else. We cannot inject it inside the affair, unfortunately. But we can inject it here. And then there's one run where this error doesn't matter. This blows my fucking mind. I'm starting to think that this has to do some weirdo thread thing. I don't get it otherwise. I think this has to be one of those things where the error just does not run. You know what? I don't fucking know. But okay. So, get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay, I'm following what happened on Master since I've been stuck on updating stuff to 0.15. I see. Well, we got async, man. So you've been missing out on that. Okay. And I mean, this is not super interesting because, well, it just succeeds. Oh, we still have thread sanitizer on. Also, that's why this is slow. Well, also the prints make it slow. It's actually more the prints than thread sanitizer. Okay. Okay. We might have done a good job. We don't have random prints. So this is all well and good. Let's add some comments for the future. Okay. I'm happy. We succeeded. Okay. Sorry, I was just staring at code, not saying anything, but I was thinking. So I think that with this design, we have something nice. We have a connection that we can truly pipeline onto across multiple threads that supports cancellation, which is nice. Although cancellation implies breaking the connection. Unfortunately, we don't have the concept of a graceful cancellation. Although we could add something like that. There's I think one piece that I could add on my end and one piece that is missing from the primitives that Zig gives you. There should be a way of saying, actually, no, I take everything back. No, maybe I don't take anything back. I need to talk with Andrew about this, but okay. So this is good though. Okay. That lock defeated. And also we're the behavior defeated. I'm gonna make a Discord post. Okay. So success. Okay, what do we do next? I think I want another cup of tea. Then we could do async work, or we can continue Ziggy. I am actually thinking that we should continue Ziggy. This async stuff is fun, but I feel like I got a good dose of async. I need to now digest it, metabolize it, and have it inform my understanding more. But this is cool. Cool shit, man. Cool shit. So here's the thing that we're missing that I think would be nice to have. And that I think would have to be a Zig primitive. Although I don't know exactly what that would look like, unfortunately. But here's the problem. Right now, if you cancel a Redis client, the client is broken because you canceled um, you canceled um, you canceled a client either mid mid read or mid write. So the connection is now garbage. What would be nice is a way of saying, well, I want to cancel something. I want to cancel like a web request, an async task that is currently handling a client request in an HTTP server. But that request was actually midway through sending a request to Redis. And we actually would like for that to run to completion. Instead of canceling it. Because if we cancel it, then everybody who's using that connection gets pooped. Maybe that is one argument for having more than one connection, I guess. But in reality, what we would want is a way of saying, yeah, look, I know that I want to cancel this, but I would like somehow to cancel this in a way that does not corrupt the connection. So in a way, I would like to shield the task that reads from Redis from cancellation. And I don't know if the current primitives support that and how that would look like, but I think that could be something that is a use case to keep in mind, I think. Okay, I'll take a quick break, grab a cup of coffee. Coffee, I wish. Tea. Grab a cup of tea, and then I think we switch to Ziggy. We do some Ziggy work. Why not? Let's get Ziggy to a usable point. So I'll be right back. BRB. I'm back. Really super HTML stuff, but we don't worry about that now. What about Ziggy? Okay, last time we moved Ziggy to async, and we got a pretty decent speed up from single-threaded to multi-threaded, processing a test directory with a bunch of files, 100 files with not insane, but like somewhat meaningful amount of content in each file, got us from 8 milliseconds to 3 milliseconds, well, which is good. So Ziggy, well, this one is the fastest one, which is the multi-threaded. What was the difference between the dash one? I don't remember. In any case, it's pretty much the same as these. So we got a 3 times improvement, more or less, which is nice. So what do we want to work on next for Ziggy? The other commands, I guess. The problem is that we did what we wanted to do with one, but not the other ones. Also, I am thinking that maybe eventually moving towards evented.io is our end goal, but it's fine if we don't do it now. So we did take care of also, wait a second. Here we're using major purpose allocator. We shouldn't be doing this. We should be using SMP allocator, unless it's single threaded. Yeah. There we go. We should use SMP allocator for everything if we have the opportunity. The format that Zig the zone following will remain the same, or will it change in the future? It might change. You can factor GPA out of the if. Yeah, but is there a big gain from that? I guess we could do this. So if we move it here, then we could get rid of the curlies, but I don't know. I kind of like it in here. Why not? Kind of makes it obvious that, it's in single threaded. This is all that's happening. And if I move it out, it might not be immediately obvious that this whole thing is irrelevant in non single threaded mode. So, yeah, choices though. As for the zone file format, and, I think the idea is obviously to try and keep it stable, but there is no guarantee that it will remain stable. Especially at some point, the package manager will become the focus of development once more, and that might cause it to change. So, you know, superpower of being a V0 language, you get to do this stuff. Release fast single threaded. Okay, let's try release fast single threaded. Let's just call it ST. And then we build a non-single threaded version. We're going to call it empty. Although, wait a second, because this needs to be built with Zig 1. Both need to be built with Zig 1. Never mind. Okay. So then non-single threaded. Okay, so copy this as MT, getting bench, hyperfine, and in this case we want just this ST and MT. Yeah, I mean there's not much of a change. We're kind of where we were before. Okay, warm up. Why hyperfine instead of poop? Because poop doesn't work on macOS. Anyway, we kind of got there. It's almost a 3 per improvement still. So I have a copy of poop that is supposed to work. I have a poop that works. I guess I'll just go this and then. Is this control left? No. Is this alt left? No. Is this command? Okay. Right. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Control A. Right. I remembered. Control A. So I have something. I have a build of poop that kind of works on macOS, but it doesn't work too well. So yeah, the multi-threaded one. These numbers are weird though. Why is this saying that it takes 20 milliseconds to one guy, 9 milliseconds to the other guy, while Hyperfine was telling us that it took way less? Whether we do shell none or not. There is something sus, and you know what? Check what happens if I run poop again. I think it will give me different numbers. These 20 milliseconds, 9 milliseconds, no, it does still give me the same numbers. It's so weird though. It's counting things differently. I don't get it. So this poop is kind of weird. But again, this is a fork that kind of tries to make it work for macOS. And Andrew never wanted to add support for macOS. So I don't know. This poop smells funny. Let's just put it that way. Okay, what it is that we want to do next for Ziggy. We were looking at FMT. So let's take a look at FMT again. So we have Ziggy schema. We have removed the schema option, so this is fine. Just formatting. There's, you know what? Maybe we could add a flag so that we can tell this guy to only do either schemas or documents, but it doesn't seem to be fundamental. So let's leave it at that. Font, I think it's Fira code. Then what we do next is let's take a look at other commands. So for example, we got in main. So we got to worry about LSP is fine. FMT, we did. We have check and convert. These two guys have regressed horribly. So let's fix. I think reverting, leaving convert, leaving this regressed for a while more is fine, but check should not be regressed. Yeah, check regressed. Yeah. So let's fix this guy. And let's look at the commands. Let's look at the help menu. Let's see. Usage Ziggy check schema doc. Check input paths against the Ziggy schema. If doc is a directory, it will be searched recursively for Ziggy files. I would even argue that schema should be optional. I think the way it should work. Is that it should be like this. And when you don't provide a schema, it will try to find the schema automatically for each doc. And maybe ignore documents that don't have a matching schema. And then we implement finally this idea of same name, same directory, or like upwards directory with a dot name. Okay, let's do that. That's gonna be work. So let's go on an adventure. So check input paths for schema coherence. You can optionally specify a schema, a Ziggy schema. You can actually specify a Ziggy schema that will be used for all found documents, or leave it unspecified to have Ziggy automatically to have the tool detect schemas automatically using the following logic. One, in order of priority. Or you know what? We can specify this later. So one. Let me reread everything I wrote earlier just to double check. Automatically using the following logic. Okay, check input paths for schema coherence. You can optionally specify a Ziggy schema that will be used for all found documents, or leave it unspecified to have the tool detect schemas automatically using the following logic. One, / bank comment at the top of a Ziggy file that specifies a relative path to its schema. I don't know if we should do this though. I think it might be a bad idea. You know what? Let's not implement this for now. So this is not going to be it. So one is going to be schema file with the same name as the document. E.g. foo.ziggy foo.ziggy schema. Two, .ziggy schema file present in the same directory. So either a Ziggy file has a corresponding Ziggy schema file with the same name next to it. Okay, I think that this is how it should work. Either same name or there's a .ziggy schema file. we do closest wins? Yeah, we do. We do fit. I'm even thinking that maybe we should remove 2 spaces there. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, options. Options, help, yeah. But I think we also want basically we want to have a flag to ignore no schema. Like if a document doesn't have an applicable schema, then so we need dash dash schema, which we mentioned already. Hey, little boo. So schema path, override the schema detection and use the same schema for all documents. Then we want ignore I don't know what to say. Ignore something, but I don't know what something should be. So I basically want a flag to say if a document doesn't have a matching schema, I guess ignore unmatched docs. Ignore docs. Ignore Ziggy documents for which there is no matching Ziggy schema. I guess ignore schemaless. Ugh, that just ignore. Hmm. Or we could say lenient. Lenient. Documents that contain syntax error that do not match their schema. or that, or for which there is no matching schema, will produce a non-zero exit code. Let's see. Documents that contain syntax errors that do not match their schema, or for which there is no matching schema, will produce a non-zero exit code. Will cause. Also, this is a dash, not an underscore. Documents that contain syntax errors that do not match their schema, or for which there is no matching schema, will cause a non-zero exit code. Okay. Okay, I think I like this description. Maybe allow instead of ignore. Allow missing schema. For now, I went for lenient. Allow missing schema is like it's good. It's just very verbose. So I'm going for something. I'm trying to find something less verbose. I think for now, lenient is fine. Okay. I think this is good. Okay. Should we support it only with the equal sign? Nah, I think we can support both styles. It doesn't matter. Hello, Danik. Okay, this is the README that we need to implement. Let's go. Let's get started. Schema path, optional, because it might not be present. We could even make it like some kind of optional, as in schema strategy, like provided or search. Something like this. Although, like this. So schema strategy, it's either search or provided. And these are just paths. Missing arguments. This is not true anymore. This could be just one argument. So we need to detect if the argument is what we want or not. So if any is help, if starts with schema. If an argument that starts with schema, then we have the schema thing. So we need more logic in here, but we can do the variable for this. Strategy. If it's schema, then if strategy is different than null, then complain. Duplicate schema argument. We don't have fatal, so we need to make it. Okay, actually this can go on a single line at this point. Then let's make fatal. Okay. Otherwise, strategy. provided, and it's going to be arguments and idx plus 1. Well, we do want to increase idx, so plus equals 1 if idx is args.len fatal missing argument to schema. There we go. So with this, we grab the argument that is afterwards. Let's see. More than equals, this should be, more than starts with, this should be equal, maybe. Okay. So this is done. Otherwise, I guess we can hoist this check up here. There we go. And down here we can say start with schema equal sign. So we can do this. There we go. Else it's actually a file, a .zig file or something else that just happens to have -- schema in the beginning, which is weird, but who knows? So in that case, I don't know, we just leave it as is. We do nothing, so no else. But then we also need to complain about the index. So this index needs to be 1. If the index for this guy is not 1, then it's a problem. So then 0 . But we need to do it if on a full match. Here. Schema. If present, schema must be the first argument. There we go. If present, schema must be the first argument. Fatal error. If present, schema must be the first argument. If present, schema there, duplicate the schema argument, missing argument to schema. Okay. So with this, we have schema handling. Now we need to do the lenient stuff. Honestly, the restriction the schema must be first. Yeah. I would enforce it. I think it's fine. So lenient. Um, if lenient, okay. Oh, I see the problem. Fuck. Are we IO yet? Yeah, we totally are. Definitely. I've spent already the first part of this stream adding some fancy IO stuff to my Redis client. So um, yeah, definitely. Should it be different than now? Yes, you're right. Thank you. It should. Okay. Do. Excited for the benchmarks? In my own stuff, it's nice. Although it's not necessarily, how can I say? It's, for example, also stuff that previously was single threaded because there was no convenient way of making it multi threaded. So I was kind of like delaying doing that non critical work. But changing, for example, Ziggy FMT from, by the way, there's people, I don't know, drilling in their holes in their walls. So sorry if you hear that. In any case, doing these changes for my stuff, like Ziggy FMT went single threaded to multi threaded, got a 3 times performance improvement against a benchmark that I made. So yeah, fart noises. No, there's somebody drilling. I don't know. Okay. And it's not me. It's not my ass drilling holes in the chair. Just so that we're clear. Okay. So here's the problem. If we allow lenient to be if we allow to sneak lenient in the middle here, then we cannot take a slice from paths anymore. God damn it. So we can do it like this. Something like this. Although I think the correct syntax would be this, right? But boy, this is starting to get syntax savvy. Jesus Christ. I think this is a good way of explaining it, I think. Either schema path or lenient. Async IO is back in Zig? It is, yes. Yes, it definitely is. Hell yeah. Must be the first argument if present. Mutually exclusive with lenient. Must be the first argument if present. Mutually exclusive with schema. Okay, so we complain if it's not the first one. Mutually. Thank you. Thanks. I think I kind of went a little bit overboard with these words. I think this guy should be below. This guy should be below. And so this guy should be here. And I think we're happy now. Okay. So, yeah, we make it first. Why am I being so bitchy about the position of these flags, which normally you should be able to put wherever you want? The reason why I'm doing this is because if we force these things to be first, then these paths can, so we don't do options here. So if we do it this way, we can basically guarantee that paths are like a slice, a uninterrupted slice. So we can just save them as a slice in paths without having to copy what we like out of them. That's the idea. Straight up. And this also means, yeah, no, I think this is fine then. Make it easier for X args. I don't know what that would entail. Also, you know what? I don't like your Dota 2 attitude. No, I'm I'm joking. Well, what does that mean? Like, what would make it easier or less easy? I don't know. I'm trying to make it easy for myself. I have no idea what XArgs would like. Anyway, let's see. Lenient. It puts parameter into the last parameter. Huh. Okay, so lenient is true. Here we should say var paths start idx usize. Actually, optional usize, and we start at null. And we say that if we see schema, and we see schema with an idx plus 1, we do our start idx is idx plus 1. Here we do idx. Now here we do idx plus 1 as well. And for lenient, we also do this. Okay. I guess we can make it not optional and just leave it at 0. That works. Okay. Then Then here's what we can say. If path start idx is args.len, you can say missing path argument oh, we need to mean fatal because we need also to print the help. Okay, so now this is schema. What is it? Schema strategy. Strategy URL search. Paths is arguments starting from path start idx going forward. You can even assert. Okay, so this part I think we did well with. Okay, now that we have this parsing, wait a second. We have here. Oh, we have fatal diag. Interesting. But we don't have diagnostics anymore, so this guy can go away. Can be reimplemented in function of fatal, which is out of memory. Okay. There's so much stuff that we need to fix, man. I learned so many things in the meantime and changed the way I do things so much. Okay, let's make this bad boy work. So I know that these things need to be fixed. Schema file. Blah, 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 blah. Shouldn't fatal exit code be non-zero? Yes, you're right. Thank you. Exit 1. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Then. Diagnostics are not a thing anymore. So what are we doing here? We are loading a schema, but we should do that only if our strategy is only if our strategy is to load that schema. So I guess it should be like this then. Provided, and then it's a struct that contains path, and then ast ziggy.schema.ast, which we don't set to anything in the beginning, and then source null terminated, also set to undefined in the beginning. Okay, so this is provided. There we go. Okay, so we have a path. Everything else is set to undefined. And when we get here, we do, we switch strategy. cmd.schema strategy. And provided, we do take a pointer to it because we want to modify it. We basically do this in the inside of there. Also, not only that, also this part here, I guess, which is here. Okay, this part doesn't exist anymore. Does this command pattern strategy, is this command pattern slash strategy pattern, or those words just happen to be in there? I'm not trying to push you to use the patterns or anything, just curious. This is none of the gang of 4 bullshit stuff. No, strategy is, okay, I'll explain what the strategy is in this case. As for command stuff is because, so I'm implementing a CLI subcommand, right? So our entry point is this. It's our main function. This is the Ziggy CLI tool. So I'm implementing this CLI tool. It has a few subcommands. FMT we implemented the other day. Query is not implemented yet. Check is what we are trying to implement now. Check Ziggy files against a Ziggy schema, which, by the way, we can also improve because this should be, instead of Ziggy files, this should be Ziggy documents. Okay, so this is our starting point. We have these commands, and in main, in main, we look at which command we got, and we dispatch to various subcommands. So now we're implementing check. And check has its own subcommand syntax that we are parsing. So we just parse the syntax. The strategy part is this. I'll read the help menu. We basically want to test a bunch of Ziggy files against their schema. But what does it mean, their schema? You can specify a schema argument to say, this is the schema that I want you to use with all these documents, or you can leave it unset, and here's what happens. So you can optionally specify a Ziggy schema. Oh, sorry, let's start from the top. Check input paths for schema coherence. If a path is a directory, it will be searched recursively for Ziggy documents. You can optionally specify a Ziggy schema that will be used for all found documents, or leave it unspecified to leave the tool to have the tool detect schemas automatically using the following logic. Schema file with the same name as the document placed next to it. For example, we find foo.ziggy. So if next to it there's foo.ziggy-schema, then that is going to be the schema that we use for that document specifically. Or alternatively, we look for .ziggy schema files. So they have only the file extension. And they also happen to be hidden files, which is, I think this is delightful because by not having a name, they kind of tell you that they apply to everything around them. But also they are hidden documents because they start with a dot, which I think is very cool. So if you find a Ziggy schema in the same directory or any directory above, with the idea that the closest one wins, then this is going to be the schema that we use for all the documents in there who do not have a dedicated Ziggy schema. And then basically we check and we print errors, and every time we find either a document that contains syntax errors that doesn't match the schema, or for which we don't find the schema, then we complain and we print an exit, non-zero exit code. Unless you have lenient, where with lenient we do not complain when we ignore Ziggy documents for which there is no matching Ziggy schema instead of reporting an error. So this is the idea. So the strategy is how do we get our hands on a applicable Ziggy schema? That's the whole idea. So it's either that it has been provided on the CLI, or we'll have to look for these things kind of as we go. That's the idea. So schema file. NCCWD read file alloc options. To do a Ziggy schema is kind of an interface to other languages. It's like JSON schema. Yeah. It's like types.d. Yeah. Ziggy is a JSON replacement, and Ziggy schema is a JSON schema replacement. So we try to read this freaking file. On an error, we fatal. Reading blah blah. This can be AT. Oh man, this is so delightful. There you go. Single line. One liner. So we file to, okay, we're supposed to be able to read the schema. Unable to read, blah. Schema path, blah. Okay, perfect. Complaint. These type implications to yes, I'm not sure. You know, typing implication is a very generic thing. I can show you one so you can get a concrete idea. So this is a Ziggy schema. A Ziggy schema works like this. You have something that defines. Actually, you know what? Let's start from the other side. This is a Ziggy document. So this is the equivalent of a JSON document. It has dictionaries, which are, Ziggy is also a superset of JSON. So every valid JSON document is a valid Ziggy document. It's just it's a shitty Ziggy document because it's a Ziggy document typed to being a dictionary. So in Ziggy, there's this concept of a dictionary, which is like a hash map, right? Where the idea is that the keys are up to the user. There's no specified schema. They are like dynamic in a sense. But when you have known structure, then you can upgrade a dictionary to a struct. So let me show you also a bit of magic. If you a struct is like a Zig struct, starts with a dot, so it's dot curly. And if you put a dot, and you see that there's this help menu that says wrong field style, use FMT. So if I save, let me comment this out. If I save, the dot turns the syntax automatically into a struct. I can also do the opposite. I can also turn a struct back into a dictionary. In any case, I'm missing the top of your screen. Scroll up your page. Okay, so this is a Ziggy struct, which looks like a Zig struct. This is a Ziggy dictionary, which looks like a JSON object, but it's meant to represent a hash map conceptually, or like something that is untyped. So there we go. In any case, we have these two syntaxes, and if you take out the trailing comma, goes back horizontal. Then what else? This is a top level struct. So basically, if your top level element is a struct, file modified by an external process. Why am I? There's something that it does not like here. What is it? This should be fine. Okay, sorry. There's something funky. I'm working on this stuff. In any case, if the top level element is a struct, then you can omit curlies and reclaim one level of indentation. So that's why this was like this. This is a union, and so we have the concept of tagged unions. So there we go. What else? That's, I guess, mostly it. There's obviously arrays. In any case, so this is Ziggy schema. Every Ziggy document by default has this schema. by default is $ equals any. $ means the top level element in the document. So the top level element in the document could be any. Any is a keyword saying, we don't know. There's no specified schema. But then you can type it more. And so, for example, what we're looking at here is a document that has a foo struct as its top level element. So that means that you look at the top level and it should be bar buzz box, and it is bar buzz box. First one is just a boolean buzz. Second one is a map of booleans. This is the sigil that I use for sorry, I said maps. I dict. This is the sigil that I use for dictionaries, which resembles a dictionary, right? So this is a dictionary where every element is a boolean. And you might think, wait, what if I want foo to be an int, bar to be a string, and buzz to be a boolean? How can I type that? The answer is you kind of can't, or rather, you can, but not in a precise manner, which is probably the greatest feature the Ziggy schema has over JSON schema, because you're not allowed to do that weird shit. So you can say that this is a map of any and say, well, it's a map. I don't know what the fields are going to be, so they could be anything. Or otherwise, they have to be an homogeneous type. No tuples. No tuples. Tuples are poor man's struct. You can make an array of any if you want elements in your array to be heterogeneous. But you don't have to also, because you can have unions. So you can have a union. So if you want, for example, this could be a map of bars where bar can have cooks and quicks, and quicks instead is a float. So that means that this is a map where fields can be or ints, but you have to wrap each element in a union. You have to tag them. And so they become homogeneous that way. So unions is how you have typed heterogeneous types inside of the same container. Kind of like you do it in Zig. Anyway, so you can have it all. It's just that you're forced to have some form of rigor. And if you don't, then you have to bail out with any. The solution, the reason why I'm saying this is, like, why I think this is good is because if you're making a document just for yourself, like it's your own config file that you use for your own stuff, then you can do whatever you want. The Ziggy will not stop you. So like in a Ziggy document, you can totally do this. It works through 10 banana. You can definitely do it. But then if you want to make a schema for it, this is not representable well in a schema. It's only representable as any. So if you're making a document that is an internet exchange format for somebody else, you cannot pull off this bullshit to them. Like you cannot, it's impossible for somebody to give you a schema that says, yeah, this first element is this, it's a boolean, then int, then every prime number is a string, and every number divisible by 2. Like they cannot give you a schema that is basically a fizz buzz. And I think that is the nice feature. And if you want to be heterogeneous, you can still use unions, but every one of these things needs to be announced by the tags. So to change this to be compliant, so since I changed the stuff, right? Okay, let's turn this back into a boolean. So this is a boolean. So this is now schema compliant. Now let's change this to be schema compliant. So buzz would have to be foo is dot cooks banana, and bar is dot quicks. What is it? Integer 10, and buzz is, I don't know, dot quicks 10 again. There you go. Schema mismatch unknown field. Unexpected token. There is something going wrong with our LSP. So this was fine earlier. I think that the moment we switched to async IO, this borked itself. This unexpected token is it's kind of problematic. That should not be the case. I think so. This is so problematic right now that what I'm looking at. By the way, if this was working correctly, this would give us proper type checking also here in the editor. Right now, this is going out of whack because I think we are observing some kind of race condition that wasn't there before. You know what? Let's investigate this a little bit. So let's go into LSP, and I think we might be having some kind of... Oh, come on, ZLS. Do we have? So IOGate got pushed, but he did not merge it back to main, so never mind. We don't have a dated ZLS. I think that we're having some multi-threading surprise happening to us. But we can do this, I think. This is kind of a cop out, but okay, let's see how it goes. Oh shit, I broke check. So let's um okay, let's fix this. Let's comment this out. Okay, I just want this to build. This blows my mind. I'm actually curious. Ziggy fmt test.ziggy schema. It does complain that it's finding unexpected tokens. So this is not an LSP thing. How did I break this bad? Did I somehow like stash something that I should not have stashed? None of these changes is interesting to me. Huh. The most important programming rule known to man: avoid multi-threading. I don't think this is even remotely true. And it turns out that this has nothing to do with multi-threading. That even there you go. Look at this. I'm gonna make a single-threaded build of the Zig CLI tool. So single-threaded, and I think it's gonna tell me the same thing. So it still complains no matter what. So something else is going on. I find it really weird though. Missing comma after field. Unexpected token. Huh. I don't know. Is it bool? No. I really don't understand why it really hates this colon. Because the first one is fine. I really wonder how the fuck did I regress this? I've been doing so much other stuff that it really surprises me that this has regressed. I truly. Let's see, we changed build, we changed check. That doesn't matter though. We changed convert, that also doesn't matter. Changed a bunch of CLI stuff. Change LSP. Change logic, we changed main. Oh, we did make some changes to this guy. Very minor ones. We did change how mismatch works. We did change a lot how validation works, that's for sure. But we didn't change how parsing works. Well, I do have a good a good like amount of changes, that's for sure. So wait, is this a tab thingy? Man, who knows? Okay, let's ignore this for now. That's not the problem. I mean, it is a problem. We'll face it at some point. So in any case, yeah, I have some parsing errors, but you get now the idea of what this stuff should look like at the very least. Cool. Now, hello. What do we want to do next? Right, I was fixing check. So let's continue working on check. Let's continue working on check, and then once this kind of works and it starts complaining that it finds syntax errors in the Ziggy document that should not contain syntax errors, then we take a look at what the heck is going on there. Okay, take this out. Okay, we have provided, we try to take the schema file. Schema path is p.path. We try to read the file. Reading the file might fail. Assuming that it succeeds, I'm going to call this source. We do have a GPA that's given to us. Also, here's another thing that we should do. Allocator. So we have the file. We try to make an AST. Oh, that doesn't work, but I guess it's GPA source. And I think that's actually it. And it's going to be called AST. This is something we definitely need to try or, well, catch. And I think we can do this. Actually, this is a catch This can only So this is a catch and then if ast.errors.len is greater than 0, then we print those errors and then we fatal out. For now, let's leave that as it to do. So let's just fatal provided schema file contains parsing errors. Okay, not great, but for now it will do. If this succeeds, then we can do p.source equals source, p.ast equals ast. And so this way we will have loaded the schema correctly. Okay. For search, there is nothing to do. For now, at least. Okay, so we do this. And then after this, we need to start looking at paths. And we're doing the thing where we check it as a file first and then check it as a dir second. And I think we should rename this stuff. So instead of check dir inside of check file, it's the opposite. It's check dir on the outside. And on error, we check file. Yeah. Okay. Then also this arena impulse stuff doesn't work anymore. Let's take a look at FMT. We are replicating the structure of FMT basically pretty much 1-to-1. Oh, there's also there's also the CLI thing, which we do not support. So let's see what that looks like in here. It's std in or std in schema. Problem is that we cannot support this use case. Actually, no, I take this back. We could support this use case. We could support std in. You know what? This is for the future. It doesn't have to be done now. Okay. So we're basically doing this. I mean, this is basically what this is. This is providing you with, in a sense, linting, except that, the difference is that linters, usually when one says linter, a linter allows the user to specify styling choices and or what to consider an error or not. In this case, there is no customization. You just get the out of the box behavior, but it's the same general role. It's the same kind of tooling, same ballpark. Okay, check directory. If this does not work, we check file. And okay, so we can look at this. This is like not there. And actually this should be on the outside. Something like this. Check there. Not there, access denied. Try the file. Try it as a file. Blah blah. Okay, more work to do here later. Okay. Okay. But I want to okay, I want to start working for real on check there. Oh, this can be deleted from the other guy. Okay, this is the same as format there. So let's see. Start iterating, start the there, start the walker. Okay. Create a group. We need to accept IO. Start the group. And then as we keep walking, find a file. If the file is named Ziggy, then we check the file. There's no function overloading in Zig. Yeah, of course there's not. Ziggy is kind of against a lot of that bullshit. I mean, no, bullshit is a little bit too harsh. It's like function overloading is, I don't know, it's an okay feature if you like it, but it's like, is function overloading something that makes or breaks a language? Nah. Is it something like that fundamentally changes the style in which you code? Nah. It's just a convenient way of, it's just so that you don't have to come up with slightly different names for your functions. That's the reality. Like every single situation where you're using function overloading, you could have the same function with a small variation over the name, like foo, and then foo many. For example, if instead of accepting one thing to do foo on, you accept a list of things to do a foo on, or like foo map, if you that kind of stuff. So again, not to say that it's like completely useless. It's not, but yeah, foo with options, for example, that kind of stuff. It's like, I would say it's a minor convenience at best. So here we're doing file detection. We don't care, but we do care about the file path, which might need to be copied. So we need to make a heap string, which we don't have in here. Kind of makes you want to share also the type, but I think it's fine if we don't. Or we could. We put it in main. Yeah. So we pass down the file path to check file. This is not enough. We need also to do schema work, but for now, this is fine. Yeah, it's a platform thing. It's apparently on Mac OS. You get access denied if you try to open a directory as a file. Or actually, I know. I'm assuming that's the case, but I tested it the other way around. If you try to open a file as a directory, you get access denied instead of getting not there. That's why I have it there. Which I agree is weird, but man, the OS I guess could do better. But we can test it later if we want, I guess. Yeah, it's weird. Okay, so if the name is Ziki, then if we're in single threaded, we don't copy it. If we are, we do copy it. And then we pass that to check file, but we don't call check file directly like that. We do it in an async manner. So we async that call. So it's io.async. I'm sorry, it's g.async. It's a group async thing, right? IO function is check file. Arguments are file path. There will be more. I think it needs IO as well. Well, you know what? Let's not jump ahead. Let's just do whatever it needs to do. Okay, so we async this call. And then once we are done dispatching all of these things, we wait them. Cool. Okay. Then check file. Check file, no arena implementation, no base there. Instead of full subpath, it's just path. We are not getting a schema. We need to have more stuff though. So we definitely need IO, I think. And we need so we need a thread local arena because that's what we were doing before. So instead of format arena, this is just check arena. Okay. Again, this is not necessarily the best thing ever. This is not necessarily the best thing ever, but it's just to let us inch closer towards this kind of support. So check arena, check file. What do we do with check file? We have IO, we have path. We need a strategy. We need a schema strategy. Guess we can just call it strat. I'm just gonna call it strat. Yeah, Zig has a thread local keyword for thread locals, which are a huge hack. But yeah. Okay, so we get the strategy. Maybe this should even go here. IO, strategy, the path. Let's do the case where the strategy is already known. So try cwd read file unlock options. This goes second. This is just path. This is dot limited. This doesn't exist anymore. There is no diagnostic. True, true, false. What the fuck was I doing before? GPA source options. Okay. Okay, so with this we have the AST. This is a catch Actually, this can just be a try because we do try in here, I think. Yeah. All of this is try because this is actually check file valuable. This is the public interface. This calls check file. Out of memory I don't know. We'll think about the rest later. So we read the file, we make an AST. Now we want to check the file, but it might have errors. So if ast.errors.len is greater than 0, there are errors. So we need to print errors. We need to print errors. Well, okay, let's leave it as a to do print errors. Then let's say that there weren't. If there are not errors, then we need to look at the schema stuff. So here we switch to the schema strat. And if it's provided, if the schema is provided, then we just use that one. So we do, I think it's p.ast.check. I think it's schema that has check. It's called validate. Yeah, validate. There we go. Validate. Once GPA schema source p.source Ziggy AST Ziggy source. There you go. And that gives us errors. If errors len greater than 0, then we print them. Print validation errors. Then we kind of return. Also here we kind of return. Search. Panic. We haven't implemented search strategy yet, but we will need to. If this all went well, then we're happy. Then we're happy. Okay, so this is the case there where, so if we got here, we're happy. We're missing a bunch of more stuff. So on top of the two obvious big to-dos, we're also missing stuff. We're missing the fact that we need to pass down the atomic variable for any error for the non-zero exit code. So let's do that. So here we have the any error atomic variable, which by the way, we are gonna need to consult here at the end because we're gonna have to say also what the fuck is going on here. So here we need to do if any error dot load monotonic, I don't know. If there was any error, SD process exit 1, otherwise just return. Is this void or this should be no return, to be honest? Oh, but if we do it no return, I think there should be a clean exit, shouldn't it? SD process dot clean exit. Yeah, this should be clean exit. Definitely. Okay. Now, we need to pass down IO to this guy for sure. And I think also this guy. I am passing here pointers. So path, any error, SD atomic value bool. Also here. As any error, what else do we end up wanting? IO and strat. I even think it should be like this, maybe. Yeah, I think this should be the order. IO, any error strat. I think it should be a const pointer. Maybe not even const, but for now, const. Yeah, I think in the future should not be const anymore. Okay. So there we go. Okay. Kind of messy. I know that I'm jumping left and right, doing things, not making anything clean yet, but like fully functioning. But it's fine. I've already seen this pattern in format, so I'm just replicating it basically bit by bit. Let's see. Let's print errors. I think FMT can teach us how to print errors. There we go. Oh, we also want the locking. Lock STDR, start printing errors, unlock STDR. Here's just errors. I think nothing else changes. Okay. Now we need to do the any error thing. So any error. Also, this should not be SCDFS CWD. This needs to become something like IO CWD. We'll see. I think this is IO der CWD. I think it wants IO as the first argument. Then any error. So definitely, if we encounter an IO error trying to open the file, we should do that. Store true. And should we fatal? Yeah, actually, it doesn't matter because we should fatal. We can see what FMT does in this case. Where's the equivalent FMT code? Yeah, we just fatal. Unable to access. It's not just writing. This is access. This could be also writing that fails. Unable to access. Okay, so unable to access this thing, which is, oh, right. This is a heap string. Yeah. Then there's syntax, which does that. I think we want to do the same. For example, here, return error.syntax. Yeah. Not exactly syntax, but I guess we can rename maybe this error from syntax to something else. In any case, this means that we did encounter errors. I guess this guy doesn't care about any error then. It really does not. So we do not pass it down. What was happening here? Here we do have any error. We do pass it down. But what is it used for though down here? If check. Oh, we pass it down because check might complain. What's my progress on Hollow Knight? If I have to be honest, I abandoned it. I got to chapter 3, and I started losing steam. I have one of the flea challenges that I need to. Well, you know the flea games. There's one that I really fucking hate, and I don't know. I basically got to the point where I was getting tired of it. So I know that I'm very close to the end, but I can't master the energy. So yeah. I think I might need to interrupt the stream soon. Let's see. To do a lunch break, but then I will come back afterwards. Okay, so a few minutes and then I'll have to end the stream. In any case, unfortunately, I enjoyed Hollow Knight, Silksong. It just got kind of tired at the end. Yeah, you know what? Maybe at some point I'll pick it up again and complete it. But now I didn't feel like. Well, here's the thing that I found kind of off-putting. I found kind of off-putting that all the stupid freaking mobs that existed before, now they're super strong again, and the game keeps throwing at you all these like arena battles where it becomes a fucking circus every single time because they jump around, they keep doing things independently of one another, and then they have also the black attacks that have like shitty animations to them. I don't know. I didn't enjoy those group fights before, and then being fed some more of them in Act 3 seemed like kind of like a cheap trick. So that's one thing that made me less motivated. Anyway, so this looks nice. Invalid. 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 Okay. So check file fallible. I think we're doing fine. So I think I'm gonna have to stop here the stream. Have to go have lunch. Last boss took me like at least 50 attempts. I see. I think I also had I don't remember any boss specifically, but I think I had a few bosses that also took me a ton of attempts. I have, well, Hollow Knight, the original Hollow Knight. It's been too long, I don't remember, but I do remember that some really took me a while. Also, the Path of Pain took me a while to get through. In Silksong, I try to think of the bosses that really I hated the most. There's the one in Bilewater that, holy shit, that fucking guy at the end, I hated him. But I think it took me less than 50 tries. I don't know, I'm trying to think. Bosses in Silksong have been mostly okay. Even the moth in the beginning wasn't too bad. Although it was one of the ones that took me maybe the longest. Anyway, I don't know. I just lost him. So I'll pause the work here. Then when I come back today, I'll resume. I don't know if I will stream. We'll see. But yeah, this is what we're doing. We are updating Ziggy to all the latest and greatest, incorporating also async IO in the mix while we're at that, while we're doing it. And hopefully soon we'll have I will be able to merge this Ziggy work all to the master branch, main branch, so that people can start enjoying it, because there's a lot of work that has been done that has yet to see the light of day, basically. So, everybody, have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed especially in the beginning, all the async stuff. But yeah. So, see you next time. Yep.